This is the book where you make no compromises. It's got Spanish in almost every page, and it's got that nerd, what you call that fanboy nerd, nerdish, in almost every page too. You don't explain it, you don't translate it. Why?
I was talking to someone earlier about this. It's like you go to a fancy restaurant and you're in that restaurant and you're like there eating dinner and the waiters are talking to you in the language you need to be spoken to. But every now and then the doors to the kitchen open and
right.
You hear all those voices, all those different languages, and all those bodies that you would never see serving you. You know, they can't be the waiters, they can't be the bartenders, they can't be the captains, but they're back there making it happen. And there's a part of me that thinks that, you know, there's the fake America, there's the America that we like to sell and that we like to dream, that we hope, my God, the myth of America, which is us out in that restaurant. But I feel like the real America is what's going on in the kitchen. You know, the future's being made by the people who are really making it, people who are back there making that food, talking to each other across languages, across continents, across histories, and dealing with each other with bodies that look nothing alike, and yet working together, you know, and often unrecognized to make the myth of America possible. And I think that paradigm as an artist is irresistible.
Right, right. At the beginning of Drown, you have this quote from the Cuban writer Gustavo Pérez Firmat. It goes like this: "The fact that I am writing to you in English already falsifies what I want to tell you. My subject, how to explain to you that I don't belong to English, though I belong nowhere else." Now, I was born in a Spanish-speaking country. I grew up here just like you. I think I understand exactly what that means. But why do you start on the first page of your first book? Why is this quote there? And how has the message of that quote influenced your body of work?
I mean, I just think there's, for me, as a writer, that will always be the first words. I felt like recognizing the very fact that I'm already a creature stitched together from things that were me and are not me, and parts of myself that used to be able to speak to me directly, but now have to speak to me through other editions that came much later. That felt very real and very human. I feel like that's truer for more people than anything else. I mean, I think most of us are like not speaking in the tongues that are ours, whether they're beaten out of us, taught out of us, disciplined out of us, seduced out of us, you know, air flighted out of us, or whatever it is. I think that that's a very real thing. And the difficulty in communicating, I mean, you wouldn't be writing, I wouldn't be an artist if this wasn't in some way true at a most profound level.
You know, Junot, at one point in the novel, Oscar returns to the Dominican Republic, and you write that, quote, "He refused to succumb to that whisper that all long-term immigrants carry inside themselves, the whisper that says, you don't belong." Did you hear that whisper when you returned?
Yeah, but I mean, what was really interesting is that I heard that whisper all along while I was in the United States. Yeah. I think what's like the advantage and the disadvantage of being an immigrant to any place is that it brings into like very stark relief questions of authenticity. Yeah. If you're born in a country and you don't really have to think about it too much, you can sort of fully embrace the myth of authenticity. Yeah. That you really belong here, you know, you're like a normal product, you know, like a naturally occurring element. But that's not true for anybody.
Right.
I think that all of us wrestle with the question of authentic. What is an authentic self? And we're trying to find equilibrium between who we think we are, who we really are, how people see us. And I always felt like that was what I would hear clearly in my head. You don't belong in the US, go to Santo Domingo, you don't belong in Santo Domingo. And then the discovery that that's a whisper that just haunts everybody.
But well, as you say, it haunts some people more than others. I mean, there's a certain...
We just hear it.
Yeah, we hear it. But isn't it kind of like comfortable not to hear it every once in a while?
Sure.
The constant hearing of it, you don't belong anywhere. Kind of going back to that quote, you have no real language anymore. You don't belong anywhere. That sometimes is tough to take.
But I guess what is easier, like ignorance, like blindness?
Sometimes it is. Huh?
Really? We won't know. Because you don't have a self who's ignorant and a self who's knowledgeable simultaneous, so you can compare. I mean, I just feel like, I honestly think the burden of not knowing can be just as strong, can be just as problematic as knowing. Because look, it's called negative hallucination, willingly forcing yourself not to see something that's really obvious. And I guess it's really the question of, do you want to be in the matrix or do you want to be in the world?
Right.
And I think for most people, sure, it must be real comfortable to be in the matrix. But I prefer the world any day, no matter how cold and how terrible the food is. Joe, just give me that. That's easier, for me.
You know, Junot, if anything, the brief, wondrous life of Oscar Wilde has gotten even more critical acclaim, even more praise than Drown did. How are you responding to it this time? Are you more accepting of the accolades? More at ease with it?
Oh, no. Me and at ease, those two words don't go along, or those two states. Yeah, I don't know. I think that I'm just saying Spanish, inquieto. And I'm suspicious, of anything, of most things. I really don't know. I think that's the real question is, the real question will be answered when the next project is done.
But are you allowing yourself to at least be, for a short while, happy?
Oh, I'm shell-shocked. See, I'm like a happy person as long as I don't think about my work. I mean, that's the bizarre thing. As soon as I have to think about writing is difficult, man. Yeah. I always seem to end up in a very dark place when I write. So when I'm not writing, I'm like, phew, I'm a happy cat. So I think that maybe with the next project, I'll have myself a margin. I really do think. I think the third one, I'll give myself time to relax, even if it takes 10 years. So,
well, one of the reasons that, as you said, one of the reasons that it took you so long to finish or to publish Oscar Wilde is because you were working on the apocalyptic novel about New York City. First of all, as hard as Oscar Wilde was, writing about something completely alien from your daily personal experience, was that even harder?
No, it was just, when I don't think I just was at every level. It just wasn't working right. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes it just meshes and you're ready to roll, and other times it doesn't come together. And this one didn't come together.
Is this the book that you intend to be your next published book?
No, it's been my dream. There's a part of me who thinks if I can write this book, that and it comes out any good, because usually the dreams can lead to like Heaven's Gate type disasters,
Yeah.
The hubris of a dream is a terrible thing. So part of me is thinking, if it comes out any good, I'll feel like, damn, whew. In some ways I'll be free from all my childhood, my childhood imaginary will have worked itself out, and I'll have to seek new topics.